My name is Martha Shapiro, and I am the Director of Programs here at Senior Concerns. So I'm so happy you all joined us on our seminar today. We have transitioned our seminars to this wonderful Zoom format, so you will notice that you are in listen-only mode. So if you do have any sort of technical difficulty as we're going through, you can move your cursor on your screen, and at the bottom there should be a chat box. So you can click on that and type a message and I will see it. If you have a question during the presentation, you'll see there's a box that's called Q&A. So you can click on that and write a question to our presenter. And then when she finishes, she will be able to answer those questions. I'm seeing a message that the volume is low. I'll try to speak up, but I have it all the way on my computer, so you might need to see if there's a way to adjust it on your computer at home. So before we get started today, this presentation has been so popular that we filled up our requests. And so we've already had scheduled this presentation for another date in October, but we are also going to record this today and have it available on our website so that if you missed a part or you want to share it with your friends, this will all be available to view in just a few days from now at seniorconcerns.org. You can also go there under the Events tab. There's a seminar section, and you can view all of our upcoming seminars that we have scheduled. So you will be able to see the upcoming seminars and click to register right there online. Now, if any of you are not familiar with Senior Concerns, this seminar series is just one of many programs that we offer to the community. We also have some wonderful caregiver support services. So if any of you are caring for an aging loved one, you can speak with a social worker and help understand. We also, oops, sorry about that. We also have senior advocates that are available to answer any sort of resource or benefit question that you might have. And we have expanded our Meals on Wheels program as there are so many more people needing some fresh delivered meals. So if you're in Thousand Oaks or Newbury Park, you can call us for that service. We've started a volunteer grocery shopping program if you need to be matched to a volunteer to do the grocery shopping for you. And we also have a new friendship connection. I'm sorry, am I still muted or can people hear me? Somebody's gonna have.
Martha, you're fine. And okay. I think Tressa is now on her phone. Tressa, are you on the phone? Tressa?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to mute myself, Martha. I've started the recording. The only thing you have to do, Tressa, is mute your computer because you don't want your computer voice to be competing with your phone voice.
Okay, I can do that now, right? I can mute it?
You can mute your computer, yes, and you'll just be on the phone.
Okay, looks like I'm on there. I'm already muted.
Okay, good. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us today. Sometimes when we're all doing Zoom from different locations, we have some technical difficulties, but we somehow pull it together. So I was just giving a little bit of an overview about our Senior Concerns programs. We are coming up with new ways every day to help older adults that are stuck at home right now, trying to be as safe as possible. So please just give us a call and if you have any sort of issue, and we'll do our best to help you. So I will go ahead and introduce our speaker now. And so you'll be able to hear her, and she'll be showing you some slides while she talks. We're very fortunate to have Tressa Thompson with us today. She has been with the California Department of Motor Vehicles for 25 years. And in her current position as the Senior Driver Ombudsman, she's involved in public outreach with senior organizations like us to ensure that this demographic has the correct information regarding DMV and safety. She covers Los Angeles County and Central Coast counties, and she frequently has contact with the senior centers and senior communities. And she does these presentations for us several times a year. And ever since we advertised, we have been inundated with questions. So I know that she has her work cut out for her, and I know that you're all here excited to hear the wonderful information that she can share to make things a little bit easier for us. So thank you so much, Tressa, for being with us today, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Teresa Thompson. I'm the Senior Driver Ombudsman with the Department of Motor Vehicles. Hopefully you're seeing my slides here. And so just so you'll know, the Senior Driver Ombudsman program was created especially for the mature driver in mind, of course. Our program was created after the farmers market incident of July 2003. Happened to be a senior driver, and he drove through the farmers market in Santa Monica. There were a lot of injuries and some fatalities as well. And so in a continuing effort to keep our seniors driving for as long as they can do so safely, the Senior Driver Ombudsman program was created. So I'm a go-between for the seniors as well as the Department of Motor Vehicles. I'm not a senior advocate. I am employed by the Department of Motor Vehicles, but I want to make sure that you're getting the right information and that the Department of Motor Vehicles is handling your case according to our policy and procedure. And so I represent an interest in public safety for all California motorists with a special interest in seniors. So the information that you hear today is not just always senior specific. It can be someone of any age. It's just that we are designed for our senior and mature motorists. So as the Senior Driver Ombudsman, if you contact me, I'm here to answer your questions, listen to your concerns and issues, and make sure that the Department of Motor Vehicles is handling your case according to policy and procedure. So seniors are our largest part of the demographic, okay? So you all make up the vast part of our population. Seniors are a growing demographic, and they are the safest group of drivers, okay? Hopefully, I'm sure that doesn't surprise anyone listening to me right now. There are relatively low traffic collisions also that involve seniors. Our problem drivers are usually between the ages of 16 to 20, 23. They're 4 times more likely to get involved in collisions than those drivers over the age of 75. And of course, if you have any young people in your life, you know that they know everything, and they don't have the experience though that we have. We've been driving longer, we've been exposed to more traffic situations, and so usually we react differently because we have that information and that knowledge. Seniors don't drive as fast as our young drivers also. They speed a lot, and speed is definitely a major contributing factor to traffic collisions, okay? That our seniors can speed as well. Now, our seniors are increasingly more at risk for certain types of driving maneuvers. For example, angle turns. So left and right turns that's going across traffic. Sometimes there's a loss of vision in the left eye or the peripheral vision. And so usually those are the types of things that contribute to seniors not being able to see as well and to negotiate those types of maneuvers. Slowing and stopping, driving too slow, or making unnecessary stops. So those are also contributing factors that put seniors more at risk for traffic collisions and possibly being pulled over for enforcement stops by the police. Accidents, left, right, and U-turns. Again, these are some types of maneuvers that sometimes have to be done quickly at a moment's notice, where you have to check your mirrors over your shoulders really quickly before you make those maneuvers. Backing, merging, parking, or leaving parked positions. Sometimes we get in our vehicles and we're just ready to go, and we leave from that parked position and we really don't check. We don't do a traffic check. When we're coming out into traffic, it's our responsibility to do the traffic check. We are going into traffic, merging with other vehicles already coming. So we have that responsibility to check the traffic, okay? Most of our seniors restrict or limit their own driving, which is not a bad thing. That is very responsible. That means you recognize and you accept that there are some changes. So a lot of common driving restrictions for seniors is they don't drive at night. They don't drive the freeways. They may no longer drive long distances. They may only drive during light traffic, and they only drive in familiar areas. I wonder if that sounds familiar to any of the audience listening here today, because that's generally what I hear from a lot of my mature drivers when they call in and they're dealing with an issue with their driver's license. And so I don't want anyone to leave here thinking that because there's a change that you're no longer responsible or you're not good enough to drive. That's definitely not what we're stating here. It just means that sometimes when you're retired, your driving needs change. You don't have to get up and with the traffic and get on that freeway to get to work. So sometimes once you retire, different stage of life, you don't need to do that anymore. You don't have to drive to far places anymore. You know, I'm waiting to get there myself. So that's not a bad thing. You keep yourself in familiar areas and familiar situations. That's being very responsible. So the DMV has no problem with that. A lot of seniors contact me and they don't think the DMV wants them to have a license. But hopefully today you'll know that this program was designed for you. We definitely want you to have a license as long as you're driving safely. That's not a problem. So the driver's license renewal requirements for persons that renew their license, and if they are 70 or older at the time of renewal, okay, you will get a renewal notice. That's standard for everyone as a courtesy. When you're 70 and older, upon renewal, it does require an in-person visit to the Department of Motor Vehicles, your favorite agency. We need to see you in person because there are some requirements of tests that are given when you're 70 and older. So the vision and the written test will be required when you come to visit us when you're 70 or older. The vision requirements, both eyes 20/40, one eye 20/40, the other eye at least 20/70. Those are the vision requirements that we're looking for, okay? For the written test, there is an 18-question test. You can make 3 errors, that's passing, so you have to get 15 questions correct. And you have 3 chances to take that test. So if you don't do so great the first time, it's not over. You have 2 more chances. You have 3 chances total. So the question usually is, what happens if I don't pass, 3 times? That's when you have to redo the application. Once you have failed the written test 3 times, then you have to repay, do a new application, and you start from scratch. That application no longer exists. You'll be tested with your vision again, and you'll be given 3 new opportunities for the written test, okay? If all goes well, you pass your test, your vision and written, then you will get a 5-year license, and you will renew again in person with the same requirements in another 5 years. The only time the Department of Motor Vehicles will limit the term of your license, meaning it's less than 5 years, is if you don't do so great on the vision test. So if you come into the DMV and you don't meet the standards of both eyes 20/40, one eye 20/40, and the other eye at least 20/70, it's not that it's over, but we will require more information from you. We will give you what's called a report of vision exam, which has to be completed by your optometrist or ophthalmologist regarding your vision. And we will get that filled out. You bring it back to the Department of Motor Vehicles. It is reviewed by staff, and then it's determined based on our vision guidelines if you will be required to take a driving test. The drive test gives you the opportunity to demonstrate compensation for any visual change or visual loss. Okay, we still want to give you that opportunity if it's viable for you to still drive, possibly in just your area. That's also an option. Sometimes we will have to give you less than a 5-year license. with vision issues. We may have to see you a little bit more often, maybe 2 years, maybe 1 year, just to check your vision, okay? Currently in the pandemic, okay, in the life of the pandemic right now, we are giving a 1-year extension to persons that are 70 and older. But these are the requirements. First off, you have to have a valid California driver's license, okay? Not for out of state, but for California licensed drivers. As long as your license expires between March of 2020 through December of 2020, and there are no vision issues, we will give you a 1-year extension from your birthday, okay? So if your birthday was March 23rd, okay, and you had a valid license, we will give you an extension until March 23rd of 2021. At this time, the governor has given a 1-year extension, okay? And again, this is due to COVID. Mature drivers, seniors are part of the vulnerable group. We want to, of course, we have to keep in mind social distancing. We don't want to put you in a situation with this pandemic coming into the DMV where there's an issue for you with your health. Okay. And so that is why the 1-year extension has been given. But the criteria, again, is that you have a valid California license, that it expired between March of 2020 through December of 2020. There is nothing for you to do to get this extension. The Department of Motor Vehicles will not be mailing out an extension or temporary license. A temporary license for the 1-year extension is available online. Okay, so we're not mailing them out. Law enforcement, we released the press release. They are aware that the 1-year extension is in place. So if you were stopped for a traffic violation, okay, the officers don't know that your license is expired until they approach you. So they're not automatically pulling anyone over for an expired license because they have to approach you to see it first. They are usually, of course, stopping you because they observed a infraction. Once they get to you, if you ran that stop sign, you may get a citation for that, but you won't get a citation for having an expired license because they do know what's going on with the DMV and the pandemic. Okay? And there's also some information here if you are age 69 and younger with a non-commercial license, that there's, with an expiration of March 2020 through July of 2020, you've been extended to July 21st of 2020. And what happens is the Department of Motor Vehicles, in light of the pandemic, has offered more options that are available online for you to renew your license. So maybe this age group is not always eligible to renew online or by mail, but we have implemented some options to now where those options are available for persons 69 and younger to renew online or by mail, as opposed to having to come into the DMV office. So again, we're doing our best to keep up with these times to offer you more options so that you can make sure that you're getting your license renewed and you're in a safe space. Okay, so the study tips that I offer, first off, number one thing is to read the California Handbook. I know it's a little over 100 pages, a lot more than when I started and I got my license, not to be intimidating, but things change, more information is there. And so reading that booklet, I would say 15 to 20 minutes once or twice daily is the best way to go. If you sit down and you try to read that book in its entirety, it kind of turns your brain to mush. So it's really best to read the booklet 15, 20 minutes once or twice a day up until it's time for you to take your test. It should be a very good refresher for you. We also have sample tests available online or by mail. If you contact me and request the sample test, I will mail them to you. I don't recommend just going through the sample test only. I always recommend to read the book if you can in its entirety and then kind of use the sample test as a refresher. You know, use those sample tests to verify and confirm that you are recognizing and retaining the information. The sample tests are just that. They are samples. The questions on the sample test will not be reflected exactly as you see them on the actual DMV test, okay? But it is the same information. ARP does a driver safety course for mature drivers. Members are about $20 or so, non-members a little over $20. It's a 8-hour course, usually given over 2 days, 4 hours each day. And you go through that entire California handbook amongst your peers with an instructor. You can ask questions. Of course, we talked about seniors limiting or restricting their driving earlier, which means that anything in that booklet can be on the test. So things that you're not as familiar with anymore, getting on the freeway, driving in different weather conditions, those things may still appear on the test, which is why it's a good idea to read that entire booklet and to possibly do one of the ARP courses around the time of your renewal. If you can schedule it that way, it's kind of a refresher, and you get a certificate upon completion. That certificate can be used to have to get a discount on your car insurance. And so it's kind of a win-win. You refresh your course and you get a discount on your insurance. And I think that's always a good thing. So when you go to the Department of Motor Vehicles to test your knowledge test, we have paper. Okay, so the written test can be requested on paper. We have new technology, which is the touch screen. It's kind of like you're looking at the screen like you're doing now. You'll be able to touch it regarding selecting your options for your responses. It's not mandatory that you do it that way, but it is available. We have audio, okay, where you listen to it and you choose the option or select the option for your answer. And we have what's called a face-to-face. It's also called person-to-person. That is where the DMV takes a small group of customers and they are read the questions, okay? And then you have to respond yes or no. So a face-to-face is not a multiple choice. That is usually reserved for persons that have sometimes learning disabilities, different levels of education. So we do ask that if you absolutely need the person-to-person or face-to-face, that you know, if you don't need it, don't take it that way, because it takes a lot of time for the DMV employees. They're away from the windows. They have to sit down and, you know, go over 18 questions with this group of people. So we try to reserve it for people that really need those services. Okay. These are just some of the top 10 reasons for drive test failures. If you have to take a drive, even if you don't have to take a drive, this is good to kind of glance at, because it's just a refresher and a reminder. Unsafe lane changes. So remember, you signal, you check your mirror, you look over your shoulder, and you go when it's clear. So the acronym to remember that is SMOG. Signal, mirror, over shoulder, go when clear. Okay? Failure to yield. That's one of the main things also on a drive test. So if you're making a left turn with a green signal, you have to edge out into that intersection to the middle, and then it's up to you to clear all oncoming traffic and pedestrians and bicyclists before you turn left, okay? Failure to stop. Has anyone ever heard of a California roll, California stop? That is something that we have made up, I do believe. I know that because it's not something that's in the vehicle code section. So officers will not pull you over and you can say, oh, that was the California roll. That just means that you rolled through the stop sign slowly, but you still ran the stop sign, okay? So it's very important that these bad habits don't show on your drive test. You have to make complete stops behind the limit line. So that's something that you want to, you know, just kind of look out for and see that in yourself when you're driving. Am I making complete stops? Am I close to home and I just anticipate no one's going to be at this stop sign and I kind of roll through it? So pay attention to that. Illegal left turns. So be aware if there's a double left turning lane, you know, which lane you're supposed to turn from and which lane you should end your turn in, okay? Okay, what's next? Improper speed. So beware of the posted speed limit. If the speed limit is posted at 35 and it's a beautiful day and there's no traffic, no weather conditions, no construction, bicyclists, it's clear, you should be at or about 35. If you're 10 miles per hour under or 10 miles per hour over the speed limit, you will fail the drive test, okay? So it's only if conditions, prevent you from driving the speed limit, that is when, you should modify your speed. Lack of experience, just being able to do things like backing up and looking behind you, not relying on your mirrors only or on the technology like the cameras in the vehicle. You have to be able to look, behind you. Being unfamiliar with the vehicle. So make sure if it's not your vehicle or if it's a new vehicle for you, you familiarize yourself with the auxiliary equipment. Those are the lights, the windshield wipers, the signal, the horn. You have to know where those things are. Those are the basic things. Poor scanning. So, you have to look out for pedestrians and signs, traffic conditions, and tailgaters. Just because you're out there and you're the perfect driver, someone behind you may not be paying attention. So you want to scan your mirrors, at all times. You should be scanning. You should never just drive looking straight out the windshield. That's a no-no. You have to, be aware of the surroundings. If you can avoid someone running into you, that's better than being hit, even if it wasn't going to be your fault. Okay, being too cautious. Usually that's driving too slow. Driving too slow, as we talked about during a drive test, is not a good idea. If the conditions don't warrant that, then you need to be driving the speed limit, okay? Unfamiliar with traffic situations. So look at the area and pay attention to special circumstances. There may be a roundabout or something that you're not used to in your local area, okay? And if there's no speed limit posted, unless otherwise posted, the speed limit is usually going to be 25 miles per hour. So those are just things to kind of refresh. These are things that some of us will always kind of forget or not be as familiar with based on where we're driving, okay? So I want to talk to you a little bit about the driver safety branch of the Department of Motor Vehicles. And this is labeled referrals. And that is because I want you to know that doctors are mandated reporters, which means they have a responsibility to report any driver of any age if they feel that their driver, that person, I should say, has a condition that may affect their driving. DMV won't know about your medical conditions unless, we rely on the medical staff to tell us that, the doctors, okay? So that's very important. Family and friends may report us if we're not driving safe or if we have a condition that has not been reported to the DMV. Very important. We don't take anonymous referrals from family and friends. They must identify themselves, okay? But they can be kept as confidential. Lastly, law enforcement. So policemen, sheriff, CHP, whatever your local law enforcement agency, they can also report you to the Department of Motor Vehicles. They can give you what's called a notice of re-examination of driver. They don't have to issue you a traffic ticket. So when they give you that notice of re-examination, that's your ticket, so to speak, to report to the DMV, to be retested. And we talk to you about what the officer observed. Okay, so those are what we call referrals. So I just want to make sure you understand this is the method by which the Department of Motor Vehicles relies on others to report issues with someone's driving. We talked a little bit about the vision already, the vision standards for the Department of Motor Vehicles, 20/40 with both eyes, 20/40 in one eye, and at least 20/70 in the other eye, okay? You must have your visual acuity better than 2200, best corrected, and at least one eye before a license can be issued, okay? We don't do bioptic, telescopic, or similar lenses to meet the 2200 visual acuity standard in the better eye. Okay, so that's when we'll give you that vision form to take to your doctor. We'll find out what is the diagnosis, what is the treatment plan, and what are the clinical measurements from the doctor. We are not ophthalmologists or optometrists in the least, so we rely on their expertise to let us know what is the issue with the vision, and can a drive test hopefully remedy to show that this person can demonstrate that this does not affect their ability to drive. So we want to give you that opportunity if the vision is still maybe below our standards, but we may be able to work around that, okay? Health and safety. So physical and mental conditions may require regular visits to the doctor. You know, follow up if medications are prescribed. You know, you want to work with your physicians to stabilize any condition. And you want to be responsible regarding side effects from your medication. So if any of us take medications, whether it's over the counter or prescription, doesn't matter of age, we need to know what those side effects are. Does it make me feel drowsy? Does it make me feel faint? Does it make me feel disorientated? It's my responsibility to know what I'm taking and how it makes me feel. Sorry about that. I'm getting back to the right page. Okay, so it's up to me to know how this medication makes me feel. It is not always a good idea to drive after taking a medication. I say, especially if it's a new medication. I tell people, have your snacks, have what you need at home if you're going to start a new medication, because once you take it, you may not be able to drive. It just may not make you feel great. And if you don't feel great, you shouldn't be driving. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Real ID. I know that's a hot topic. First off, Real ID is a federal program, okay? It is a federal program. The new effective date for Real ID is October 1st of 2021. So the photo on the left is a federally compliant Real ID. This one happens to be a driver's license. And what stands out, of course, is that very bright gold bear with the embedded star on the top right corner. That signifies that this card is Real ID and or federally compliant. So this card, and we'll talk about what this card can do. The card on the right is non-federally compliant driver's license, okay? So on the top right corner, it says federal limits apply. And let's go into each card more specifically. So again, just remember, Real ID is now effective October 1st of 2021. What does that mean? It is a federally compliant driver's license or identification card. It is a federal program that was started after the events of 9/11, the terrorist attack. And so it requires you to come in person to the Department of Motor Vehicles if you're going to apply for the Real ID. And you do have to bring some specific documents. One, we need an identity document, okay? Just one. It has to be original or certified copy. It has to be a birth certificate, a valid U.S. passport or passport card. It can be a certificate of naturalization or citizenship. There's several more documents under this field. I didn't put them all in. These are the most common, okay? But it has to, identity document is to identify your name and your birth date, okay? A social security verification. So we need your social security card. If you don't have the card, we'll take a Social Security Administration 1099 form, a W-2 or a check stub. Unfortunately, I get a lot of military people to ask me if they'll take the DD-214. That is not one of the documents that the federal government said was okay to verify your Social Security number. Okay, so we'll only take Social Security card, Social Security Administration 1099 form, W-2 or check stub. That's it. And then we need proof of California residency. We need 2 documents. It can be utility bills, any 2 different utility bills, which includes the cell phone bill. It can be your vehicle or boat registration. It could be the title to your vehicle. It could be your mortgage, rental, or lease agreement, insurance or health documents, or bank statements. Okay, those are official pieces of mail that we will accept to show proof of your residency. In some cases, a name document is also necessary. And I'll give you an example. As women, when we are born, we are not married, of course. We get married, then that's going to require us to have a marriage certificate. So if I'm going to come in and I'm going to use my birth certificate, it's going to, of course, have my maiden name. Now I'm married, I'm going to have to bring in my marriage certificate to show why my name changed and what it changed to. So it's going to show it's a marriage certificate. It changed because of marriage, and this is the married name. Okay, that's when we will need something to fortify your name change. Okay, some people just change their name because they don't like their name. And so in that case, you would have to go to court and get an official name change. Okay. What is the Real ID for? The federally compliant card. It is used to board domestic flights after October 1st of 2020. That's when it will be mandatory for you to have the Real ID if, only if, you are going to be traveling by plane, going to the airport, if you're going to enter a secure federal facility or military base. Okay? It is not mandatory that you go and get a Real ID. If you're not traveling, if you're not entering a federal building or military base and you don't want the Real ID, you do not have to get it. If you have a valid passport or passport card, you can use those items to board a plane, okay? So you don't have to get that. If you already have a passport, a valid passport, you can use your passport, okay? So it's totally up to you if you want to get the Real ID. The Real ID can be your driver's license or the identification card, either card, but just one, okay? The non-federally compliant driver's license or ID card would not allow you to board a plane as of October 1st of 2021. So if you go to the airport and you want to board a plane, you will not get through TSA with this card because it says federal limit supply, which indicates it is not a secured card, okay? So it will not allow you to enter a federal facility or board a plane starting October 1st of 2021. You would need to have the Real ID with the bear and the star on the top right corner, okay? And some of you will look at your license now and say, is this it? If the bear is not bright gold, it is not the Real ID, okay? So with DMV service options, I want to make sure you're aware of these, especially in the times of COVID. Appointments are definitely always a viable way of getting your DMV services completed. Right now, our appointment system is down. They've been working on backlog as well as current appointments. So the appointment system will be available August 17th. The appointment system will be back up and available to take appointments, new appointments, August 17th. The phone number, there's also where you can call in to make an appointment and ask general DMV questions. So 1-800-777-0133 is always a number you can call to get driver's license or vehicle registration questions answered. You can go online to dmv.ca.gov. Again, in light of the times that we're in right now with the pandemic, we have a lot of different options now available where it's called the virtual DMV office, and you can do things online that you could not have just several months ago. Okay, so we want to try to make it as, customer friendly as we possibly can for you to get this business done. There are also kiosks. So those are little machines in different areas, the markets in the areas where you can go in and actually buy your groceries and then purchase your tags and your registration on the way out the door. Okay, so we're trying to catch up with technology, so it doesn't always mean you have to go into the DMV. AAA, if you are a member, you can get some of your DMV business and transactions done to AAA. That's another option. Okay, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here and speak with you virtually. I'm so sorry that I'm unable to see you and you can't see me with the technical difficulty, but I'm hoping that you were able to understand everything, and I guess we can take some questions now, okay? And this is my contact information. If you need me, you have my direct phone number, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tressa. We have had lots of questions coming in while you're talking. So maybe the easiest way is for me to read the question to you, and then I'll just go in order. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so the first one is, do you have any idea when the DMV will be resuming license renewal testing?
I know that appointments will be available August 17th of 2020. So next Monday, the appointment system will be back up and available. And I would think at that point, all testing will resume.
Okay. And then this one is, do I have to make an appointment at the DMV since my license expires in January?
I believe it's always best to have an appointment to go to the DMV. If your license is upcoming January of 2021, I would say in the next, month or so, I would be online trying to make that appointment. Yes.
So as of right now, if your birthday is December 30th, you get the 1-year renewal. But if your birthday is January 1st, you do not. Is that correct?
That is correct. The extensions are just from March and through December of 2020, correct.
Okay, so anybody, we also had another question. If your birthday is in January, you do not, as of right now, get the automatic extension.
Correct, that is correct. No, as of now, that is not on the table.
Okay. Where can they get the California handbook that you were referencing?
The California handbook is available online. They can always call me. I can mail it to them. Of course, if they don't want to make a trip to the DMV, they can call the 800 number as well. So I'm available if you call me and leave me a clear message with your driver's license number, your name, and I always ask for a phone number just in case things aren't clear. I will mail the booklet to you.
That's wonderful. Makes it easier if you are not as comfortable navigating the DMV website.
Exactly.
Will I be issued the real ID if I have all the necessary paperwork when I come in, and what is the cost?
You will be issued a real ID if you have the necessary paperwork. All of the documents we discussed regarding real ID have to be given at one time. You can't bring in one thing and come back with something else. So everything has to be processed at once. Right now, the fee is $37. If I did not mention it, there's no separate fee for the real ID driver's license. It's $37 to renew whether you get the real ID or not. So there's no extra fee.
Okay, no extra fee. There was another question related to that. If you scan the real ID documents online, as you referenced that you can now, why do you also need to bring them to the DMV with you?
Because we have to see the original documents. We have to see the original documents. Unfortunately, things can be done online. If you scan documents and they're not the original, or it's been photoshopped or something, things can be made to look authentic when they're not. So we have to see them. We have to verify them.
Okay, but does it still save you time to scan them ahead of time?
It does, because they've already kind of seen your documents. You just have to look at them for authenticity, and then that speeds up the process, yes.
Okay, good to know. Are there any advantages to the written test versus the computer test, or vice versa?
No, it's just based on personal preference. If you're more comfortable, taking it on paper because that's what you're used to doing, then you can do that. If you want to give it a try for the touchscreen, then, if it's kind of like using a Kindle or an iPad. So it's just personal preference, what you choose to do. And you can go in and take the written on paper, and then if the next time if you want to try the touchscreen, you can do so, or vice versa.
Okay, good to know. I think for some people, if you're not as comfortable with touchscreen computers, it can raise your anxiety, even though it's no difference in the questions. But if it's going to raise your anxiety, it might make it harder to think clearly. So you might prefer to choose the paper.
And just so you'll know, so I'm clear, when we print out the questions and you're going to do it on paper, we're printing them from the touchscreen. So I don't want to make sure there's no different questions. It's all the same system.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. My renewal is this year. I will turn 70 before the next renewal is due in 10 years. Will I receive a renewal at age 70 or at the next 10-year renewal?
You will receive a renewal at every 5 years. So if the next renewal you're going to be 69, then you don't have to come in because you're under 70, unless of course things have changed when it gets to down the road. But if I'm understanding the question correctly, they want to know, are they going to just have me come in because I'm 70? If your license expires and it's going to take you to 73, then that's when you come in at the expiration of the license. Does that answer that question?
The way I'm interpreting it, yes. So if you're 67, then you don't need to come in until you're
72.
72 every 5 years. So just because you turn 70, they don't automatically bring you in.
No, it's going to be upon the expiration of the license.
Okay. And if I'm interpreting any of these wrongs, people, please just type it in again. That I see as I'm answering questions, more are coming up. So we'll just keep going.
Okay.
This is a question: how do you get an appointment? Because I've tried recently and was unable to get one.
Yes, recently the appointment systems were shut down. So again, they will be available August 17th, which is Monday. The appointment system should be back available for anyone to access it to make an appointment.
Gotcha. Okay, so it has not been open.
No.
Okay. Are age 70 and up renewals automatically issued a real ID after showing appropriate documentation, or do you have to specifically request the real ID?
You want to specifically request it because that's a part of the application. It asks you if you want the real ID. So you need to check the appropriate box, of course, and also have the necessary documents. Yeah.
Okay, because there's no time when you're automatically given a real ID, correct? You can always get a regular license?
You can always get the regular license or ID card. It's not automatic for anyone to just get real ID. Yeah.
Okay. And will there be appointments reserved for seniors, or do we have to fight the real ID crowd?
One more time, Martha.
Will there be appointments reserved for seniors, or do we have to fight the real ID crowd? Hopefully not fight anyone.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, hopefully we're not fighting anyone except COVID. But no, there are no specific appointments reserved for seniors that I'm aware of as of yet. So I always say, COVID has changed a lot of things. And so some things I'm kind of trying to sit back to see what's going to happen August 17th as well. But I would always tell my seniors, make your appointment a few months before your birthday, at least 3 to 4 months. You should start, going on the computer checking for an appointment.
That's really good. Repeat that.
Take advantage of that 1-year extension because you don't have to fight. You don't have to, kind of be out here in this hustle. You have until hopefully this dies down and you can come in sometime next year when it's, a little bit more calm and we're free of COVID, and you can get in and get out.
So you can make your appointment. Right? How far out do they schedule appointments?
They usually only go about 2 months. But again, this is pre-COVID. I have to kind of see what's going to happen once they open this up myself on August to see if there are any changes.
Okay. Oh, someone's asking, can you put the slide up again that has your contact number?
I sure can. There you go.
Oh my gosh. It's wonderful. I've been emailing her all week with questions and she's been so helpful giving me answers. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Let's see. Still need marriage license if I have a passport, different name from birth.
If your marriage license, if your passport has the name that you're going to use, let's say your married name, then no, you will not need the marriage license, marriage certificate, not license. So should I say that again?
Say that again.
Okay, so if the passport, let's say, has your married name, okay, then you need the marriage certificate because the passport is a federally issued document. They've already checked your name, and so that's sufficient for this process.
Gotcha. So if the passport's already been changed to a married name, you can use that for proof at the DMV.
Exactly, and you will not need to bring us the marriage certificate. And let's make sure we're saying marriage certificate, because the license we apply for to get married, the certificate is issued once the marriage takes place. Some people get the license and they never make it to get married, right? So we want the marriage certificate, certified copy, not the license. I know we don't think like that, but it happens.
I would never have thought of that.
It happens.
So somebody is saying that the bank will not accept the expired license as valid ID, even though I have the extension letter. Well, that's
okay, now when you say extension letter, does this person have the actual extension, or is it just the letter saying that the DMV has extended licenses? Do they have the actual driver's license extension that shows the date and their information?
That's a good question. I don't know. So if Barbara in the audience is able to answer that for us, or type it in again, then we can try.
I guess I can answer. I'm sorry, Martha. I guess I can answer. As far as if you have the paper extension with your name and it indicates you now expire, January 2021, then that should be sufficient with your photo ID. Okay, that should be sufficient because that is the actual extension of your driver's license. I don't know, but hopefully I'm answering that right.
Got it. It sounds to me like that answers it, and if not, hopefully she can reach out to you. Always reach out to you directly.
Definitely.
Let's see, what happens? My license is expiring in December of 2020. What can you use instead of a driver's license? So this is very similar question then. If people don't accept the expired license when going to the bank or other entities.
And that's hard. I really can't answer that. It depends on the business or the entity that you're doing business with, what they will accept. If you have a passport, a valid passport, I'm sure that would work. But if you don't have a passport and your license is expired, you may want to check with them to find out what they will accept.
Okay, and then they can go online and request the paper extension be sent to them so they can show that with the expired license?
Yes, if you need an actual tangible extension, the one-year extension is available online. If you have issues with it, give me a call. I'll try to help you as much as I can to get that done. Okay,
perfect. Does this information, I'm afraid I probably know the answer, apply to the Texas DMV?
No. Each state, has different rules and regulations. And so you would want to check with, that state to find out what is required.
Okay. After 8/17, will walk-in be available? I think it's already available, isn't it?
Walk-ins are now available, but I'm going to be brutally honest with you. It's a wait. It's a long wait.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you can hold off and make an appointment, I would try to do that. If you're able to go in there and wait a little bit, they are available now.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I saw too, at least from what I read online, that if you do walk in now, they have a new option where you can leave your cell phone number and they'll text you when they're ready for you so that you can wait out in your car.
Yes. And I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. Yes, you're right. They do have that option where they are, of course, in light of the pandemic, not to have people in the office and, of course, to comply with the CDC and social distancing. We do offer it where you check in and they will text you and you can wait in your car or go home and come back if they tell you what time your actual appointment will be. You have to wear masks when you enter our DMV offices. Our employees are wearing masks. They're cleaning stations and they have hand sanitizer available for you as well.
That's good to know. I'm glad. I always would rather wait in my car than wait inside. So I like that. I hope that stays.
Right.
Do you have a driver handbook for 2020? I have the 2019 one, but is there a new version for 2020?
2020 is available and I do have those.
Okay.
So if you give me a call, I'll mail it to you, no problem. And I know my email is up here, but I just want to make sure I'm clear. Sometimes working for the state and the firewalls and the protection, I may not get your email. So I would prefer if you would call me and leave me a message. I do call back. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be off the next few days. I'll be back on Monday. But if you leave me a message, I will definitely get the booklet out for you.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
No problem.
For the Real ID, if you scanned in a utility bill in March of 2020, do you have to bring in the same utility bill if you're renewing your driver's license in February of 2021? Or can you bring in a new one? That's a good question.
Okay, one more time. I'm sorry.
I could see that coming up. So if you've already scanned in your utility bill online, but now you're not going to be going back into the DMV till February, can you bring in a new utility bill, or do you have to save that one that you scanned?
I would say go ahead and save it. I would save it. I would put everything in a folder that you're going to use with DMV and save it. But I don't see where there would be a problem because they can probably upload it and scan it as well if you have to bring in a new one. That shouldn't stop your application.
Okay, so if you didn't accidentally save that exact one, you're okay.
Right, you're okay.
Good. Let's see. Can I make an appointment for the test even before I've received the renewal form?
Yes.
So like you said,
the renewal form. Yes, the renewal notice is sent to you about 4 months prior to your birthday. So if you want to do it a little before that, you can do that.
How much before?
But again, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, how far before your license expires can you go in and renew it?
Just a few months. You don't want to do anything over 6 months. If you go in earlier than 6 months prior to your birthday, it takes a year off, and you'll only get a 4-year license. You rob yourself of a year.
Ooh, okay. That's
yeah.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be too eager.
Right.
If you have a Real ID, you already have your Real ID. When you go in to renew it again, do you need to bring all the documents again?
No, if you already have been issued a Real ID with the bright gold bear on your driver's license or ID card, the documents are not required again. Now, I will give you a caveat. Let's say I go in and I get the Real ID on my driver's license, okay? And now I want to say I want the Real ID, but I want to convert it to my identification card. Then I have to bring in the documents because it's a new card. But if I'm going to just go in and I have it on my driver's license already and I'm going to renew my license, and I'm going to keep the Real ID on my driver's license, no, you do not have to bring in the documents again. No.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. A few of these we've answered. Can I use my passport for TSA approval? Yes, right?
Yes. You can travel with your passport. So as we mentioned before, the Real ID is not mandatory. If you do not want to get the Real ID and you have a valid U.S. passport, you can travel with your passport October 1st of 2021. Yes.
Okay. So this person says they were notified that their new appointment to take their driver's test has been rescheduled for this coming Monday in Oxnard, but they would prefer to go in Thousand Oaks. Can they go to the
Yeah.
But it also says I have a temporary license valid for 1 year up until 5/10. So maybe they wait?
They can wait. You know, what happened was when the DMV had to cancel, when we were closed and we canceled a lot of those appointments, they rescheduled and they tried to get the people in the area closest to them, maybe not the same DMV, but, you know, to get them in because they had a lot of cases to reschedule. So if you don't take that appointment, it would be up to you to find another appointment. They're not going to kind of negotiate to try to find another appointment. Once they reschedule it, that's it. So, you know, you don't have to go there, but you would have to, you know, work to get another appointment.
Okay, so if you give up that appointment, you'd be starting over with the system.
Right, exactly.
Okay, but they have, sounds like enough time that maybe they can wait.
Yes, if they have a current temporary that's good until May, they have plenty of time, and I'm almost positive they can get in between now and May for a test.
I hope so.
They better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you pay the $37 for the renewal? What are the forms?
Cash, check, money order, and I believe some offices, I know some offices now are set up for, well, we have ATM, and some offices are set up for credit. I have to check our website to check on that to see if all offices now have it or if it's just some, because credit is new for us.
Okay. We still have some more questions, and so if you're okay with keeping this going, Tressa, so we can get through the questions.
Oh, sure. No problem. I'm here to the end.
Okay, good.
No problem.
I will keep going to get everybody's questions answered, but I certainly understand if some of you are ready to hop off. I just want to say thank you for joining us and let everybody know that all of our upcoming seminars are already available on our website. And the next one will be August 25th, and it is Meeting the Challenges of Solo Aging, What You Need to Know to Be Prepared. So are you single? Are you married without children? Or do you have extended family that lives farther away? Then this might be a good seminar for you. So go ahead to the Senior Concerns website to look to sign up for our next seminars. But as I said, I'm just going to keep going through these questions since it's a rare opportunity to have somebody so educated from the DMV here speaking with us. So we thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so the next one, if a person has been married and divorced more than once, do you need multiple marriage certificates as proof of the name changes?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
And that's what it's for proof of the name changes. So let's say I get a divorce and I say, well, I want to go back to my maiden name, or this is my old husband's name is Smith and now I'm Johnson. So I have to bring in the divorce decree from Smith, and then I have to bring in the marriage certificate for Johnson. And if Johnson doesn't make it, I'm going to have to bring in the divorce decree from Johnson and the marriage certificate for Wilson. So we're a little nosy, but we have to have those to verify the names. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you have to see the whole sequence.
Exactly.
Oh, I answered that one. Yay. Okay. I tried to get a paper extension, filled out the application, and the DMV did not send it and tried multiple times.
Okay, contact me and we'll see what I can do to help you Monday, if that's okay.
Okay, so
okay.
Reach out directly to Tressa. We got your contact information there. That would be great. Thank you. Oops, pressing the wrong thing. Okay. Do I have to make an appointment to renew my license, or will the DMV send me a letter for renewal with an appointment already?
No, the renewal notice comes out as a reminder, but we do not automatically send appointments. It's up to you to make that appointment.
Okay. I will be 68 in October, and my driver's license has to be renewed by this October of 2020. Will my next renewal come in 10 years or 5 years?
I'll do 10-year licenses in California. So a license is given for 5 years. So it'll be 5 years. So
it'll be 5 years at 73. It won't suddenly at 70 request a test.
No, 68, so 73. And then that's when the requirement will be fulfilled for the testing, vision and written.
Okay.
And just let me say this, since things are changing with COVID, we never know what changes are going to take place because of COVID and this pandemic. We've already been giving extensions and 1-year extensions now. So who knows where legislation or things may change with this testing requirement. We'll see, right?
Absolutely. None of us could have predicted in the last 5 months all the things that keep changing. So
exactly.
We don't know what's to come.
Exactly.
Another person who's having trouble requesting the year extension online. So please, Ken, just reach out directly to Tressa so she can look into that for you.
Yes.
Okay, we're getting close. We have a lot of people saying thank you for all the good information.
Oh, very welcome. You're very welcome.
If I don't get an appointment until November of 2021, can I apply for a real ID at that time?
Yes, you can apply for the real ID whenever you're ready. So if you're not going to be traveling and you're going to go in there and your birthday's November of 2021, which is after the deadline, and you can wait and it doesn't affect you, then by all means, that's when you get your real ID. I wouldn't make a special trip to the DMV for real ID if it's not necessary. So just think the extension's been given for real ID. It would have been October of this year. It's October of next year. Okay, so I wouldn't go in there to do that right now if I'm going to be renewing next year. I would just wait.
Okay, because the real ID, you don't need that just for driving around.
No, it doesn't affect your driving, just traveling, visiting federal buildings and military bases. And one more thing to add to that, if you do go in today to get a real ID and your license expires, let's say February 2021, but let's say I want to go and get the real ID today, I can do that. I'm going to pay $32 to convert it to real ID. However, in February, I'm going to pay another $36 when it's time to renew the license. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to pay for it $32 now, then it's not going to extend the license. It's just going to change it to real ID. It's not going to renew it because it's too early. You know what I mean? So if you want to be frugal about it, which that's me, I'm going to wait until February and do it all at one time.
That makes sense, and probably not a whole lot of us are flying right now anyway.
Exactly.
So if I take advantage of the 1-year extension, will my license need to be renewed again in 4 or 5 years?
As to my understanding, they're going to be 5 years.
Okay, good. So
yeah,
it doesn't cut into your next time.
Not to my understanding, but that's a good question. I'll triple check that one. How about that?
Okay. If you are eligible for an extension, will you get another reminder when that extension is up?
No.
Ooh, that's a good question then. So everybody should really track it themselves.
Right. So once you get if we're talking about the 1-year extension, once you get that 1-year extension, we're not sending any reminder notices to, hey, you're going to renew your license. It's up to you to get it done on or before that date of your birthday for the next year. Am I answering that? I think I understood that question.
Yeah, I believe so. And that's a good thing for people to realize, that they have to now monitor that themselves.
Right. You just get a year. So it's like your next birthday, that's going to be your date to go in. But again, like I said, you want to try to get in there before the last minute.
Right. Okay. Now this person says, why did the DMV send me a renewal notice for November of 2020? I will be 76, so I automatically have an extension until November of 2021.
Those notices are automatic. They're generated by computer. We had no idea the pandemic would be here around this time to stop those notices. So they're just automatic. So if you get your renewal notice and you qualify for the extension, you still get the extension. Those notices are computer generated.
Okay. So don't worry, we're not tricking you. The notice just...
Exactly. They're going to come. Yeah, they're going to continue to come because we can't stop them.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I have a California ID license with veteran printed on the license. It expires in April of 2021. When I renew, I schedule an appointment at least 2 months before it expires, correct? I think they're just
correct.
Correct. Got it. Okay, and then let's see.
Here's a rule of thumb before you go to that next question really quick. Rule of thumb is when you get that renewal notice, start looking for your appointment.
Okay. As soon as you get that notice, start trying to schedule.
Yes, go ahead and start checking the computer to make sure you can get an appointment secured before your birthday.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I think we just have 2 more. I got a real ID for senior citizen ID. My license expires May 17th, but I have not been driving. Do I need to go through the whole driver's license exam? So it's... Okay,
the driver's license expires May 17th of 2021?
It does not specify.
Okay, so the license is going to be expiring. I want to make sure, is it expired already or is it going to be expiring? That's what I'm not understanding.
Sorry, 2020, she just wrote in. So it is already expired.
Okay, and they have an ID card, is that right? Was that part of it? They have an ID card?
I wonder, it says I got a real ID for senior citizen. My license expired 5/17.
Okay.
So,
And then,
Dina, does that mean that you currently have an ID but not a license?
that is correct. Whenever the license is expired, it is expired. But if you have a senior citizen ID card, which goes beyond the expiration of your driver's license, then you have a valid California identification. That can be used at the bank. If it's a real ID with the bear, it can be used to travel.
So if she wants to get the license back, what steps does she need to take?
Just make an appointment, fill out the application, and go in for the testing, because I believe she was over 70, right? I believe it had her age in there as over 70. So yeah, she's just going to go in and apply for her renewal. That's it. There's no penalty.
Okay.
Yeah, no
So
penalty when you're licensed.
And take the written test.
Written vision and pay the fee. Yes, that's it.
Okay, written vision and pay the fee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm now on, wait, I thought I was on the last question and then something else popped up.
Okay, that's okay.
Oh, I think I already answered this question. I will be 68 in October and my driver's license, right. So it's 5 years. I already answered that, not when you're 70. If Dina's saying that if she doesn't have a car and not driving, then keeping just the senior citizen ID is enough.
Yeah, that's absolutely enough. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, and then someone's asking, because now we're confusing, I think, with that. Do you need both a real ID and a driver's license?
So a real ID can be either the driver's license or an identification card. So it's not necessary to have them both. It's the real ID is not a separate card. It will be integrated as a part of your driver's license or as a part of your ID card, whichever card you choose. The yellow bear can only be on one card. So you have to choose if it's going to be your license or your ID.
So if you have a license and that's what you're using as your ID, then you'll get a real ID driver's license and you'll have that one card.
Right. And you can have, and the thing is, you can still have an ID card and a driver's license at the same time. Only one can have that bear and be considered as a real ID. Is that confusing?
And that made sense to me. Hopefully that answered the question and it's not fail.
I hope.
In again.
Okay. And they can, like I said, they can always call me.
Absolutely. Can I make one appointment to take my test and get the real ID?
If you're going to be renewing your license, testing is all a part of the appointment. So you're going to bring in your documents for real ID. That's a part of your appointment, and taking the vision and the written test also a part of the appointment. So you don't have to make separate appointments.
Okay, perfect. And yeah. Isn't it too early to look for an appointment for next October of 2021?
Absolutely, it's too early, yes. The appointment system only lets you go up to, I think, about 2 months. It doesn't go beyond 60 days.
Wonderful. I just see that it says no open questions. That was over 55 questions that you fielded, and I am amazed.
Wow.
So I just want to really, again, thank Tressa Thompson so much for her time, and all of you for joining us today. If other questions pop up or we weren't able to, you have something that's more specific, please, you have her email and her phone number. So you can always reach out. And if you lose it, just reach out to us at Senior Concerns. And go on our website, seniorconcerns.org, to look for our upcoming seminars and see if there's some topics that interest you. We have a bunch of topics coming up. Now I'm just getting people typing in thank you. So thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Take care. Bye, Martha.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.